have seen the torch of freedom pass from hand to yearning hand, and the vision of our fathers spread hope throughout this land, as the dream some fought and died for in my heart becomes my own. I will strive to keep her promise, America, my home. America, America, may God bless America, and freedom reign across America, my home. From the shorelines to the prairies, to the cities great and small, we have reaped the fruits of justice and liberty for all.
So with deep appreciation for the blessings of freedom that we know in this wonderful country of ours, I'm Dr. George Simon, welcoming you to another edition of Character Matters. This is a program where we talk about what I consider to be the defining issue of our time, the character crisis that we face and that influences and affects so many aspects of our lives, from our families, our community relations, our interpersonal relations, to our civic relations, governmental relations, international relations, our economy. Every aspect that you can think of is touched and affected some way by the character crisis that we face, and is taking a toll. And so I have made it my life's work for the last 35 plus years to do something about this. And along those lines, in addition to the years of counseling individuals and families and couples that I have done over the years, I blog at manipulative-people.com. That's www.manipulative-people.com. Just posted kind of late this past week's article. Normally the articles I post every week post on a Friday afternoon, but as some of you may know, I've been traveling, doing professional training workshops, and seems like every time I go to New York State, I have trouble getting back on time. Either the state has something in for me, or they were trying to hold on to me. Whatever the case may be, I always seem to get a flight delay alert about half an hour before I'm scheduled to take off and leave New York State and come on back home. And such was the case this time. As a matter of fact, so many flight delays that I ended up having to take an entirely different flight home and through a different hub city. And by the time I got here in the middle of the night, I was pretty well beat. So I have to say it's been a nice, relaxing Father's Day weekend. I want to thank my sons, Adam and Chris, for the kind Father's Day wishes. My son Chris and his family, especially for the wonderful Father's Day dinner. And I've just been kind of hanging out and relaxing and trying to recoup a little bit from another exhausting tour, but well worth it. So as I was saying before, I was a little late posting on my blog at manipulative-people.com because of all the travel issues that I had. And I also carry my work out not just on my manipulative-people.com blog, but also the blog Psychology, Philosophy, and Real Life at www.counselingresource.com. That's counseling with two L's, by the way, counselingresource.com. I write for that blog as well. And then, of course, my 4 books in sheep's clothing, Understanding and Dealing with Manipulative People, the international 20-year bestseller, and Character Disturbance, the Phenomenon of Our Age, and The Judas Syndrome, my book tailored for the Christian faith community. And then lastly, but certainly not least, my first book with co-author Kathy Armistead, How Did We End Up Here? Fast becoming another popular seller. So I couldn't be happier that the books enjoy so much success. I have another book with Kathy coming out at the end of the summer. Dr. Armistead and I will be releasing, hopefully, The 10 Commandments of Character, How to Lead a Significant Life. It is in press, still undergoing some revisions, even as I speak. But hopefully it will be wrapped up soon and ready to go and ready for release at the end of the summer. And I sure hope that you make yourself available of the material either in my books or on the blog sites that I write for. If you're having some problems in your life with a character disturbed person, perhaps even you are such an individual. I get questions all the time from individuals asking me whether people with character disturbances ever feel the need for getting any help. And in fact, they do. And in fact, they write me. And in fact, many of them show great promise. And several over the years have demonstrated a remarkable commitment to changing their lives for the better. And I'm happy to be a part. I'm also happy to have been a part, apparently an awakening of sorts for individuals, some of whom were at a few of my workshops this past week. My venues this past week were in Albany, New York, and in the Hartford, Connecticut area in Windsor Locks, and also in White Plains, New York, just outside of the city. And in addition to seeing some family friends that I hadn't seen in years, I also was able to network with some folks who had found their lives turned around and experienced an awakening of sorts about what really makes people tick, how you really tell some of the disturbed characters among us, and how you deal with them in a way that ceases to make you crazy and empowers you and makes you better able to make better judgments in the future about what kinds of individuals with what kinds of character are likely to cause you a whole lot of grief in your relationships, and how to tell when somebody really means it, when they say they're going to change, and really goes to work on making those changes. And above and beyond all else, what to look for when you go looking for help, what to look for in the kind of professional services that are absolutely essential to effectively deal with the problem of character disturbance. This is one of the reasons why I've been on this, is to help those mental health professionals out there in the field dealing on the front lines with character disturbance to help them better understand the true underpinnings of character disturbance and the kinds of methods and approaches that really do work in dealing with it. Because our traditional perspectives are not only ineffective, but they're very disadvantaging. Very disadvantaging not only to professionals, but to individuals as well who are familiar with the tenets of more traditional psychology and who have embraced some of the axioms and principles of those traditional approaches and paradigms, only to their disadvantage in a relationship with a character impaired or character disturbed individual. So I was so happy. Really, I mean, nothing gives me more edification. I was so happy to have met so many people in the last few tours who had something similar to say, in that their lives were changed and for the better. Things in their life completely turned around as soon as they were illuminated by either one of my books or several of my online writings, and they came to see their situation in a different light, and it empowered them, and it changed their life. And there's nothing for me, as both a concerned mental health professional and just as a fellow human being, there's nothing that edifies me more than that, knowing that something that I believe in so strongly and something that I've wanted to communicate so badly for so long affected someone in such a positive way and helped them rebuild a life, understand their predicament, deal with it, move on, and empower themselves in future relationships. There's just nothing more satisfying than that. So I couldn't be happier, even though I am completely wiped out on this Father's Day. And to all you fathers out there, I hope you had a great day. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I hope you were able to spend time with your family. I hope that you have a situation in which you not only are ready, able, and willing to express your feelings of appreciation to your family, but that your children are of the character to express their appreciation for you as well. So if you want to join the conversation tonight, I'm happy to take your call at 718-717-8296. That's 718-717-8296. On this Father's Day, we don't just have to hear from fathers, but it would be nice if we did. And maybe you have some thoughts to share about lessons learned from your father. Maybe you have not so pleasant memories, but maybe you have some very pleasant memories. In any case, if you want to share, there's probably no greater responsibility on the face of this planet than parenting a child. And it's so unfortunate that we live in a time where all too many of our children are raised in an atmosphere where they're really at a disadvantage as far as building the kind of character that will carry them through the rest of their lives and help them function in a way that benefits both themselves and society. It's truly not only a sign of our time, but it's truly a tragedy of our time that such an important job as rearing a child is not just taken so lightly sometimes, but also because some folks are simply not prepared themselves in character. They're too into their own selfish pursuits. They're too strung out on substances. They're too involved with themselves. And they can't give their children, or should I say, won't give their children, what their children so desperately need. You know, we are one of those species on the planet that takes a long, long time to evolve socially. It takes a long time for us to learn all the lessons that we have to learn to be able to function responsibly in society. We're talking 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, day after day, month after month, year after year, for many, many years. At least a quarter of our lifespan, if not a third of our lifespan. Just grooming us to function well within a social system, within the social order. And so much can go wrong. And unfortunately, these days, so much does go wrong when the nurturing of our character is deficient. And toward that end, I posted the last in a series just today. I actually finished crafting the post yesterday, but posted it just today. The post that would normally post on Friday to my blog at manipulative-people.com. I just posted today the last article in a series of articles on what I call the fourth commandment of solid character development. The fourth commandment having to do with developing a balanced sense of self. And that's really key, a balanced sense of self. Self-esteem that's not too low, but also not too high. It's really possible to have too much of it. Self-respect, which is different from self-esteem. And a sense of self-worth, a sense of personal self-worth that's in balance. It's so crucial to developing healthy character. And so I've had this series of articles talking about what builds healthy self-esteem, what builds healthy self-respect. How does a person develop a legitimate and healthy, balanced sense of self-worth? This is really so important. And so I've been writing about it. You can also find information on it in both of my books, In Sheep's Clothing. Well, I take that back. It's actually in all four of my books. In Sheep's Clothing, Character Disturbance, The Judas Syndrome, and How Did We End Up Here? I address it in all four, in different ways, with different explanations, different examples. The books are not the same, but many of the core subjects are touched upon, as they have to be, because the books are all character related. So the post that I put online today is the last in that series, and next week we will be beginning a new commandment having to do with respect for the truth, and I'm going to be giving that commandment a lot of attention, because we live in an age where just about everyone lies, sometimes egregiously, and in so many different artful ways. There are so many ways to lie. And it's always insidious. It's always detrimental, especially, most especially, when we lie to ourselves, when we don't honestly self-reckon. There's nothing perhaps more damaging to character, and there's certainly nothing more damaging to a relationship. Breaches of trust are just poison. They're simply toxic to any relationship. I get emails, phone calls, letters, comments at workshops by the hundreds attesting to this, how a sense of betrayal upset everything, how a person who thought they knew their partner was blindsided and realized they didn't know them at all. And there's nothing more devastating. Perhaps you've had an experience like that. Or perhaps you're a father who wants to share some thoughts about the importance of being a father, or the trials and tribulations of trying to parent children, or just anything at all. Maybe you have a question you want to ask me. Maybe you just have something you want to share. In any case, give us a call at 718-717-8296. That's 718-717-8296, and I'll be happy to take your call. Well, the weather in New York State was absolutely beautiful for my stay this past week. Temperatures ranging from the mid 70s to the low 80s during the day, and then cooling off to a very pleasant upper 50s to mid 60s in the evening. Just absolutely beautiful weather for this time of the year. But I understand that heat is coming everywhere, starting in the Southwest, potentially deadly heat. I lived in Phoenix, Arizona for several years. Matter of fact, I have a family that still lives out there. And it was not uncommon during the summertime. It was not uncommon at all to see the temperature reach 110, 112, 13, 14, even 115. That was not uncommon at all. But temperatures pressing 120, that's a different story. You know, when it gets that hot, every degree counts. And even though it is relatively dry, so you don't have the heat indexes that you often have when temperatures are in the 90s and humidity is 30, 40, 50 plus percent. Even then, the temperature as it approaches 120 degrees is really oppressive. The heat is really oppressive. And there's almost nothing you can do, save stay indoors in air conditioning, hopefully, or stay in the water in your pool if you are fortunate enough to have one. One of the things that feels good in the desert climate is because it is so dry, the evaporative cooling the evaporative cooling effect makes it seem so much cooler when you get out of the water. So if you happen to take a dip in your pool, even on a very hot day, and even if the water is fairly warm, when you get out, you actually feel cold for a while, which is very refreshing. But you have to do something like that, and you have to stay very, very hydrated. So to all my friends out there who are preparing for this early heat wave, my heart goes out to you, my well wishes. Stay hydrated, stay cool, do the best you can. Do not engage in overly strenuous activities. You die-hard golfers, take precautions, please, because this is no laughing matter when the temperature soars to 120 degrees plus. And the heat that's being generated in the southwest right now will be moving eastward and northward, I'm told. So much of the country will be experiencing some near record heat, I understand, by the middle and toward the end of the week. So caution is the word. Stay safe. And how this relates to the character issue, I think, has to do with our responsibility toward our planet and to address the issues associated with our changing climate. You know, there's room for reasonable debate. There is room for reasonable debate about just how much of what we are experiencing in the way of climate change is due to man-made activity. There's certainly room for debate. And I don't call out either group on either side as being necessarily wrongly intentioned. But you know, whether or not all of the claims are just and correct, and whether or not all the criticisms are just and correct, it seems incumbent upon us to take a serious look at how we're managing our welfare on this earth. There are many, many, many of us. Many, many, many more than there were in times past. And, you know, history should be a teacher for us. Unfortunately, it is not many times. But history has shown that some of the greatest civilizations have simply disappeared. And almost all the time, the culprits have to do with climate and food shortages, and if not that, disease. There's always something threatening our existence, and how we approach that, the level of conscientiousness which with we approach the issue, and the level of civility in our discourse really matters. We're using our resources at an unprecedented rate. And despite the fact that in the last 30 or 40 or 50 years, we've gotten more efficient in a lot of ways, the fact is our population keeps increasing. And our demands for resources keeps increasing exponentially. And there's got to be a limit to all of this. This earth is not exhaustible. Presently, we're recovering our natural gas by a process known as hydraulic fracturing or fracking. This involves penetrating a layer of mantle, cracking through it, and reaching natural gas trapped beneath it. Well, this is all fine and good, but the mantle and the tectonic plates associated with the mantle of the earth have been there a while, and they're unstable enough without us pounding the living daylights out of them. And in almost every area where there's been hydraulic fracturing of the Earth's mantle, there have been earthquakes reported in increased number. Small tremblers, for the most part, but tremblers nonetheless. We're truly messing around and flirting with some pretty serious stuff in our ever-increasing need for energy and resources. There are a lot of us, and our demands are high. And people of real integrity, people of real character, have respect for life and have respect for this great nurturing grounds of life. We only have this one earth, at least now. Perhaps the time will come, just as the science fiction story suggests, when we've so depleted our resources here that we simply must find new places to exploit just to survive. Of course, the science fiction horror movies always have the aliens doing the same thing to us, having exhausted their own resources, looking for greener pastures here on Earth, and then wanting to take our resources. So that's always been the stuff of science fiction. And it can be a warning sign, a wake-up call, if we truly let it be. At least I hope it will be. And I sure hope that we come to our senses and realize the importance of our natural resources and all the gifts that we have. You know, one of the commandments of character that I've written about has to do with gratitude, which begets a humble sense of obligation and indebtedness. On a day like today, on Father's Day, it's a good idea for children, especially children who have had the benefit of parents who have truly risen to the occasion and done their best to raise their family. It's incumbent upon children to recognize their fathers. My father was not a perfect man, but there are so many things that I know I owe to him. So many things that, were it not for him, there is no way that I could be where I am today and enjoying the many things that I have. So even though, as I am, he was imperfect, I'm still obliged to honor him and not just revere him as my father, which I do. We lost him too early, unfortunately. Well, at the very young age of 64, due to cancer. But it's not just all that I owe to him and the debt of gratitude. And it's not just that debt of gratitude is responsible for so many things that I have, the opportunities that I was given, the things that I was afforded. It's not just that. It's that despite the fact that, like myself, he was imperfect, there were certain core things that I learned that were essential to my own development and that have made all the difference in my life. The value of persistence, the value of integrity, personal integrity and honesty. My father did not have much of an education. He left the school that he was in, the high school that he was in the 10th grade. His father actually pulled him out of school because he said that he needed him to work. He needed cheap labor in his business. So he didn't have the benefit of a high school education, nor did he have the benefit of college, as did some of his brothers. And yet, he built an organization, a business. He founded a business, a successful business. He built it, and he built it largely, and that business, by the way, provided not only means for his family, the financial means we needed to survive and prosper, and to progress in life and to have some of the finer things. Didn't just provide that, but it provided incredible life lessons. Lessons about the value of hard work, of personal enterprise, entrepreneurship, how business works, how integrity in business plays such a vital role. He built this business largely on two things: his own personal tenacity, his determination, the sheer force of will. The second, perhaps, is even the more important, and that was his name, the value of his name, his good name, the integrity he brought. That's what builds things. You know, these days we have an awful lot of envy out there for people who make it. And there are those, I know there are those, who perhaps make a good deal of money in ways that are not all that honorable. But there are many, many more individuals who merely by the sweat of their own brow, their determination, their tenacity, their conviction, their ardent desire to better their own lives and to better the lives of their families, who are motivated by love and who have the personal integrity, the honesty, and the integrity, the ethics to succeed. And they deserve every bit of the success that they earn. Every bit of the success that they earn. So, I owe a great debt to my father because not only did he provide the personal modeling that I needed, not always, like I said, like myself, he had his flaws. He was human, as am I, all too human. But when it came to the most essential aspects of personal integrity, all the right elements were there. The command that we have to honor our parents, to do them proud, is not so much a matter of obedience, but rather living our own lives in a way that would make a decent and honorable parent proud. To not disgrace them, to not dishonor them. It's a concept that unfortunately has fast faded in this crazy culture of me first, everyone else later, pleasure of the moment, entitlement. But I thank my lucky stars every day for all of the tremendous life lessons I learned, not just from my parents, including my father, but for the enterprise that they built and the life lessons that enterprise taught me. So, happy Father's Day to my own dear departed dad, and to all the dads out there who take it all seriously, who understand the responsibility, who embrace it willingly instead of begrudgingly, and who lovingly and dutifully take on one of the most important tasks, if not the most important task in life, the task of raising a child. Not just getting that child through, but raising the child to have the kind of integrity of character that would make any parent proud. That's what we look for. That's what we look for. That's what matters. Character matters. Perhaps someone out there has a story to share about their father. Maybe it's a good story, maybe it's not such a good story. But the importance of days like today cannot be underestimated. So if you do have a story to share, or maybe just a question you want to ask, or something else you think that the audience would like to be privy to, then give us a call at 718-717-8296. That's 718-717-8296. I'll be happy to take your call. Well, I've got a 2-week respite, and then I'm back on the road again. This time back to New York State, only to the western part of the state. I'll be in Syracuse and Buffalo and the environs around there the week of July, let's see here, 7th, 8th, and 9th, I believe. Or maybe it's the 6th, 7th, and 8th. I'm not exactly 100% sure. But it's that second week in July that I will be back in New York. I think it is the 6th, 7th, and 8th of July that I'm back there. And bringing my message to clinicians primarily, but anyone can attend. At all of my workshops so far this year, I have had members of the general public attend. And pretty universally, all have said that they got a great deal positive out of it. And we also were fortunate enough to have some time to visit. When I do the workshops, I make a certain amount of time available to visit with people and to sign books and to discuss topics in the books and just to discuss general issues related to character and the problems that somebody might be having in their life with a character-disturbed individual. So that's been really, really edifying. And I can't wait to do it again. And we've got a lot of workshops scheduled for this year. It's a pretty heavy schedule, and I would invite you to go to my blog site at manipulative-people.com, and at the navigation menu on the top, of the home page, navigate on over to the tab that says Workshops, Seminars, and Webinars, and you will see a listing of all of the upcoming workshops for the next few months. And then if you will mosey on over to the Cross Country Education website, the Cross Country Education folks will have listings for you as well. Best to search for them under live seminars and under my name as speaker, George Simon, and you'll find a listing of the seminars. My seminar is entitled Manipulators and Character Disorders, and you can see most of the listings through the next few months. I think 3 months at a time is all that shows up at the page. We are booked right now through the end of the year, and we will be doing workshops next year as well. Not sure how much longer I'll be doing these workshops, so if you have a mind to, I encourage you to attend, whether you're just a layperson or you're a mental health professional and you're dealing, as we all have lately, more increasingly with persons of disturbed and disordered character. You won't want to miss these wonderful opportunities for training in the kind of techniques and perspectives that offer some real hope. So check out, I said before, at the Cross Country Education website, and also make yourself available of the hundreds of timely articles on the blog site, especially this most recent series that began about 2 months ago on these 10 Commandments of Character that are providing a preview of coming attractions, so to speak, in this new book coming out at the end of the summer with my co-author, Kathy Armistead. This is a book that I have actually wanted to write for a long, long time, and have finally done so with Dr. Armistead's help. And it's being held up, unfortunately, by me because of some editorial concerns that I have. But nonetheless, this is a book that I consider to be probably one of the most necessary books, because there's nothing more important in our time than stemming the tide of character disturbance. And this book contains in it the life lessons that experience and research has demonstrated quite convincingly that we must have our children master the life lessons that they must master and embrace to function in a way that is healthy, wholesome, and productive, and serves the common good as they enter adulthood. And these are the same life lessons that must be embraced and perhaps either learned for the first time or relearned at a deeper level by individuals who have yet to get it quite together as far as their character is concerned, and have made a mess of things in their lives and in their relationships, and are finally wanting to turn things around. These 10 Commandments of Character apply to both groups of folks, both adults who are trying to change and become better people, and young people who are trying to develop the character necessary to function responsibly in adulthood. So look for this book at the end of the summer. I'm really working hard to ensure that it's just the right kind of book and brings the right kind of message. And I will be more than happy to have any comments, any feedback whatsoever from folks who review the book, whether they post reviews online or not, because this book perhaps means more to me than any other book that I've written, truly. I owe a great debt to my first book. Its 20-year shelf life this September is truly a mind-boggling and amazing circumstance that I never imagined possible when I first wrote it. Never imagined that I would see the day that it would be in print 20 years and still enjoying bestseller status after all that time. In a way, it's a little sad because it's a testament to the prevalence of the problem of manipulative behavior. Because In Sheep's Clothing is all about those nefarious manipulators out there who make you feel crazy because you know in your heart of hearts that there's something really wrong with them. But with all their antics and shenanigans and tactics, the things they throw at you, the ways they put you on the defensive, they have you thinking that there's something wrong with you. And this gaslighting effect that has often been called these days has made many people doubt their own sanity, when in fact the only amazing thing or the only crazy thing about their circumstance is that they have been for too long involved with somebody who was not as they appear, who knew how to look good on the outside, but was as corrupt and impaired in character and as dishonest as they come on the inside. And that can really lead to disaster in a relationship. It can really just tear the heart out of a person, just truly break their heart. And I've had that reported to me, and I've had that happen so many times. I care not to count the number of times. So I'm really pleased and edified that after all these years, we still have bestseller status for In Sheep's Clothing. But I now have good reason to suspect that we will eventually enjoy the same kind of success with all the other books. Each one of them is doing exactly like In Sheep's Clothing did in the beginning, and that is through word of mouth, slowly spreading. No flashy advertising, no big campaigns, no high-profile appearances, just solid work of word of mouth, recommendations from people who had their lives changed and are hoping to help a friend do the very same. So I couldn't be happier. But of all the success with that, the book that means the most to me is the one that will be coming out, because I consider it to be the necessary book of our time, both for our children, who we want to raise with the kind of character that will help make this world a better place, not only for them, but also for those individuals who have come to that point in their life where they are beginning to finally question the typical way that they have done things, the typical ways that they have looked at things, and want to make of themselves a better person. Well, we're getting close to the close of the hour here. I want to alert you to the fact that it will not be long now before our program precedes the 4th of July holiday. And on that Sunday evening, prior to the holiday, I will be playing the full version of our patriotic song that my wife and I wrote. She's coming in from a mission trip here in just about 45 minutes. She's been out of the country. I can't wait to go pick her up from the airport and resume our beautiful lives together. But that song that we were inspired to write, that I received an inspiration from I Know Where, and with her help put together, and that opens and closes this program. We'll be playing it in its entirety, perhaps one time during the beginning of the program, and maybe even another time in the second half of the program, or as we close. We'll work that out somehow before that time. In the meantime, if you're one of those folks who either wants to perform the song yourself, or you're in a position to have a group, a choir, somebody you know, maybe you're on an organizing committee for a patriotic event this coming Independence Day, and you want to add your name to the chorus of individuals using the song to help carry the message that America's true greatness lies not so much in its military might or its economic power, but rather in people of good character who honor and cherish and live out her best ideals, and upon whom the very survival of freedom depends. If you want to carry that message through song, using the song, check it out at YouTube. On YouTube, Google Anthem for the Millennium or America, My Home, or do a video search on YouTube. Once again, either Anthem for the Millennium or America, My Home. It'll route you to it. There'll be information there on how to contact me. You can also contact me through my blog at manipulative-people.com. You can also follow some links that will take you to some video performances of the song. And you can also find it on my Facebook page, a Facebook page for America, My Home. In any case, I hope that you fathers out there today, I hope you had a wonderful day. I hope you truly appreciate the burden that we carry and the power that we have to influence the character development of our children. There is no greater duty. And as I said earlier, I know the debt of gratitude that I owe, not just for all that I have, but for all that I am, as flawed as I am. I know where that debt is owed. So, like so many of you are probably wanting to say today, thank you, Dad. Wish you were here to enjoy this day. And I wish you all a great rest of the weekend. See you next week on Character Night.